Welcome back. Today, we're taking a journey back in time with the Lincoln Wheat 1 penny. This little coin tells a big story from its iconic wheat ears on the back to the history it's witnessed over the years. Whether you're new to coins or a seasoned collector, the wheat penny is full of surprises. Let's explore what makes this coin such a timeless treasure. First up, the 1955 Abraham Lincoln Wheat 1 penny with the large date and the rare D-error mint mark is one of the most fascinating and mysterious coins in the history of United States coinage. This coin represents a unique chapter in the production of Lincoln cents, where a combination of human oversight, mechanical error, and the unpredictable nature of minting created something that collectors have chased for decades. Struck in the Philadelphia Mint during a time when mint facilities were under constant pressure to meet high demands for circulating coins, this particular penny stands apart because of its unusual mint mark anomaly. The D mint mark, normally used for Denver-minted coins, should not have appeared on a Philadelphia issue of 1955, yet due to a die mix-up during preparation, it was punched into some of the dies used for production. This rare error, combined with the large date style used that year, makes it an extraordinary and highly valuable collectible in the numismatic world. The coin's design is, of course, the beloved Lincoln cent style created by Victor David Brenner, featuring the portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, a design that began in 1909 and continues to this day with various modifications. The obverse of this rare variety shows the bold and distinct large date, easily noticeable to trained eyes, while the misplaced D mint mark appears awkwardly above the date, signaling the production mistake. The reverse features the classic wheat stalks framing the denomination and the words 1 cent, with the inscription United States of America and the Latin motto E pluribus unum in fine circulated condition. This coin still retains enough detail to make the design and error features clearly visible, which is crucial for authentication and collector interest. The mintage for regular 1955 Lincoln cents was substantial, with hundreds of millions produced across different mints. However, the exact number of 1955 large date cents with the D-error mint mark is unknown. Experts estimate that only a few dozen to perhaps 100 may have survived the decades, with many likely lost to circulation, damaged beyond recognition, or simply overlooked by the general public. This extreme scarcity is one of the driving factors behind its massive value in today's market. Collectors and investors know that finding one of these coins, especially in any condition where the error is visible, is a once-in-a-lifetime event. In the auction market, this coin has generated significant buzz whenever it appears. Even in circulated fine condition, a confirmed and authenticated specimen can command astonishing prices. In recent years, well-documented examples have sold for upwards of $625,000 due to the combination of rarity, historical significance, and collector demand. For higher grades, values can exceed even that figure, but for most collectors, simply owning any grade of this variety is a remarkable achievement. The high price is also fueled by competition among elite collectors who want to complete error type sets or own examples of the most famous Lincoln cent anomalies. The history surrounding this coin adds to its allure. In the 1950s, coin production involved a mixture of manual and mechanical processes, and mint mark punching was done by hand onto working dies before striking coins. This manual process left room for mistakes, such as the wrong mint mark being added to dies intended for a different mint facility. Quality control at the time was not as stringent as today, allowing some errors to escape into circulation unnoticed. The 1955 large date with D-error mint mark is a prime example of such an oversight making its way into public hands, only to be discovered much later by sharp-eyed collectors. From a collector's perspective, the visual elements of this coin are a major attraction. The large date style, compared to the small date variety, stands out with bold numerals, giving the coin a more prominent look. The off-mint D mark is not only out of place geographically, but also historically, as no Denver-struck 1955 large date cents officially exist. This mismatch creates a fascinating talking point for anyone displaying or studying the coin. In fine, circulated condition, there is enough word to show that the coin genuinely circulated in commerce, carrying with it a story of decades of use before its true nature was recognized. The market for rare Lincoln cent errors has only grown in recent decades, with more collectors appreciating the historical and production-based stories behind them. Auction houses often feature such coins as headline items, knowing they will draw both bidders and public attention. For the 1955 large date D-era penny, the combination of rarity, design appeal, and minting curiosity makes it a trophy coin in any advanced collection. Even seasoned dealers may never encounter one in their careers, which makes the coin all the more valuable and desirable. Owning a 1955 Abraham Lincoln Wheat penny large date with the D-era mint mark is not just about having a rare piece of metal, it is about holding a tangible connection to an era of American coin production where human craftsmanship and fallibility intertwined. It is a reminder that even the most controlled systems can produce anomalies that become legends in their own right. In the eyes of numismatists, this coin is a perfect example of how rarity, condition, and an intriguing backstory can elevate a simple 1-cent piece into a treasure worth more than $500,000. For those fortunate enough to find or acquire one, it stands as both a prized possession and a lasting testament to the enduring allure of rare coins. Next up we have the 1950 to Abraham Lincoln Wheat 1 penny with the large date and the rare D-era mint mark in bad and damaged condition is one of those fascinating cases in American coinage where rarity and historical curiosity outweigh physical condition. This coin, despite its wear, scratches, and possibly heavy discoloration from years in circulation, holds immense interest among seasoned collectors because of its remarkable era and its almost legendary scarcity. Normally, coins in poor condition do not attract massive prices, but when the variety itself is among the rarest known, even heavily worn examples can command staggering sums in the market. In this case, the 1952 large date penny was officially struck at the Philadelphia Mint without any mint mark. Yet somehow a working die was mistakenly punched with a D, the symbol reserved for Denver Mint coins, and was used to strike a very limited number of cents. This die mix-up created one of the rarest Lincoln cent anomalies in existence, designed by Victor David Brenner. The coin carries the iconic image of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, with the large date numerals boldly stamped below his profile. The misplaced mint mark, slightly off alignment for a Philadelphia struck coin, is a telltale sign of the error and instantly sets it apart from normal issues. On the reverse, the familiar wheat stalks flank the denomination 1 cent, with United States of America and the motto E pluribus unum at the top. Even in damaged condition, these elements are still recognizable, and the error is still visible, enough for an expert to authenticate. This is crucial for collectors, since the presence and correct placement of the mint mark are what established the coin's rarity and value. The mintage of regular 1950 to Lincoln Wheat pennies was very high, with hundreds of millions produced across all mints. However, this D-era mint mark on a large date Philadelphia coin was never intended for production. The exact number struck is unknown, but numismatists believe only a small handful may have survived, making it one of the least available mint mark errors from the 1950s. Many may have gone unnoticed in circulation, worn down to near illegibility, or lost entirely. That scarcity is the foundation of its massive market appeal. The fact that such a coin can be recognized even after decades of wear shows how distinct and historically significant the error truly is. When it comes to auction values, the rarity of this coin overshadows its damaged state, while a pristine or uncirculated example could theoretically fetch even higher amounts. Even a poor-grade authenticated specimen has been known to sell for over $570,000. Collectors understand that in cases of extreme rarity, condition affects price far less than availability. The chance to own one of these coins is so slim that when an example appears, It can spark intense bidding wars among advanced collectors and even institutional buyers. The origin of the error lies in the minting practices of the era. In the early 1950s, mint marks were still punched into working dies by hand before striking. It is believed that during die preparation, a Denver mint mark punch was accidentally applied to a die intended for Philadelphia use. This would have been a small oversight at the time, but once coins were struck and entered circulation, the mix-up became a permanent part of numismatic history. Quality control procedures in that period did not catch every anomaly, and the pace of production made it easy for a few errors to escape unnoticed. For those who encounter one of these coins, the damage often tells part of the story. Years of handling, environmental exposure, and even improper storage may have left the coin with deep scratches, dents, heavy discoloration, or even partial detail loss. But this very damage also confirms that the coin lived a long life in circulation before collectors began recognizing its significance. The survival of any example in any grade is remarkable, given the odds stacked against it over decades. The appeal of the 1952 large date with D-error mint mark penny is not only in its physical attributes but in what it represents. It embodies a unique combination of human error, industrial process, and historical context. The early 1950s were a time when coin production was still a balance between craftsmanship and machinery, and this balance sometimes produced mistakes that went on to become priceless rarities. For many collectors, finding such a coin, even in poor condition, is like uncovering a hidden piece of American history. The demand for error coins, especially in the Lincoln Wheat series, has been steadily growing. Collectors seek them not only for their rarity, but also for the stories they tell. The 1952 large date D-error is one of the most elusive, and its presence in the marketplace is a headline event. Each known example is documented and studied, making ownership not just a matter of having a coin, but of becoming part of an ongoing numismatic narrative. In the world of high-end coin collecting, condition is not always the deciding factor. In the case of the 1952 Abraham Lincoln Wheat penny large date with D-error mint mark, even a bad and damaged example can command hundreds of thousands of dollars because its scarcity is absolute. It is a testament to the fact that sometimes what matters most is not how perfect a coin looks, but how rare and historically important it is. For those lucky enough to possess one, it is both a personal treasure and an enduring piece of numismatic history worth far more than its humble denomination. Next up we have the 1955 Abraham Lincoln Wheat 1 penny with the large date and the rare D-error mint mark in red shade and rusty condition is one of the most intriguing and valuable coins to ever emerge from mid-20th century United States coinage. This coin is a perfect example of how an unusual minting mistake, combined with extreme rarity and historical appeal, can propel a humble 1-cent piece into the realm of six-figure treasures. While the coin's surface may now show a red tone from its original copper luster mixed with patches of oxidation and rust from environmental exposure, the distinct features of the error are still visible enough for authentication, which is the most critical factor for collector interest. It is these traits, paired with its scarcity, that make it one of the most sought-after pieces in the Lincoln Wheat cent series. The coin's obverse retains Victor David Brenner's iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln, which first appeared in 1909 and remains one of the most recognized coin designs in American history. Below the portrait is the large date style used in 1955, with bold and wide numerals that stand out sharply against the coin's field. Just above the date lies the anomaly that makes this penny legendary, the D mint mark, which should not exist. On a Philadelphia minted coin, the D is slightly misaligned and carries the hand-punched characteristics common to mint mark applications of that era. On the reverse, the familiar wheat stalks frame the denomination 1 cent, with the inscriptions United States of America and E pluribus unum. Despite the reddish tones and rust spots, these details remain identifiable, even if softened by age and circulation. The regular 1955 Philadelphia wheat penny mintage exceeded 300 million pieces, yet this particular era variety is known only from a tiny handful of survivors. Because the Philadelphia Mint did not normally use mint marks, the presence of a D means that at some point in die preparation, a Dender mint mark punch was mistakenly used on a Philadelphia die. This would have been an isolated and unnoticed event at the time, but it resulted in a small number of cents entering circulation with this highly unusual and technically impossible combination of features. The exact number made is unknown, but experts agree it is exceptionally low, with perhaps fewer than 50 examples surviving today in any condition. The value of this coin lies in the perfect storm of rarity, collector demand, and the fascination surrounding mint errors. While its rusty and uneven red tone might be considered damage on a normal coin, in this case it does little to diminish its desirability. Advanced collectors and even institutions are willing to pay extraordinary sums for such an example because they understand that the opportunity to own one might never come again. In recent high-profile sales, coins of this variety have reached staggering prices well over $580,000, even in heavily circulated or flawed condition. For many buyers, the story behind the coin is just as important as its physical preservation. The 1950s were still a period where mint marks were added to working dies by hand, one at a time, before being used in production presses. This manual step was prone to occasional mistakes, and when such an error involved placing the wrong mint mark on a die for a different mint, the result could be a coin that should not exist according to official records. Quality control was less stringent compared to modern standards, and with the vast volumes of coins being produced, a few errors inevitably slid through and entered everyday commerce. The 1955 large date with D error mint mark is a textbook example of how such oversights can become legendary. The rusty and red shaded condition of this specific example also tells a story of its own. It suggests decades of circulation followed by years of storage in less than ideal conditions, perhaps in a humid environment or in direct contact with corrosive materials. This aging process has altered the coin's surface, creating a blend of original copper red and darker oxidation patterns. While some might see this as damage, many collectors view it as a unique patina that marks the coin's long journey before its discovery. In numismatics, originality and verifiable history can often outweigh perfect appearance, especially with extreme rarities. When displayed in a collection or at an auction, the coin draws immediate attention because of the oddity of the D mint mark on a Philadelphia issue, the bold large date, and the rich color contrast created by its red and rusty surfaces. It becomes more than just a piece of metal. It is a physical link to a moment in minting history when human error created something enduringly valuable. It also serves as a reminder that great rarities are not always preserved in pristine condition. They can be found in the most unexpected states and yet still command prices that rival or surpass those of high-grade coins. For serious Lincoln Cent specialists, owning a 1955 large date with D error mint mark in any condition is a career-defining achievement. Its market value continues to rise as more collectors learn of its existence and as the pool of available examples remains extremely limited. Even in its red-shaded and rusty state, this coin embodies everything that makes numismatics fascinating: rarity, history, beauty, and the thrill of discovery. That combination is what pushes its value to heights beyond $580,000, ensuring its place as one of the most coveted wheat pennies ever struck in the United States. Next up we have the 1945 Abraham Lincoln Wheat 1 penny with the large date and without a mint mark in circulated condition, showing a distinctive black layer across the Liberty area on Lincoln's face, is one of those coins that captures attention not only for its historical background, but also for its extreme rarity and market value. While the majority of 1945 pennies are common and were produced in vast numbers at the Philadelphia Mint without any mint mark, this particular example stands out because of its unusual surface appearance combined with a perfectly struck large Date: the black layer across Lincoln's face, especially over the word liberty, gives it an unmistakable look that has intrigued both collectors and experts. While surface discolorations are not uncommon on older copper coins, in this case, the coin's specific condition and preservation of detail make it an attractive collectible despite heavy circulation. The obverse of this coin features Victor David Brenner's enduring portrait of Abraham Lincoln, which has been on the 1-cent coin since 1909. On this piece, the large date style of 1945 is bold and easy to identify, with the numerals standing out clearly even after decades of handling. The absence of a mint mark confirms its origin at the Philadelphia Mint, and the most striking visual element is the black-toned layer over the Liberty inscription and across part of Lincoln's face. This effect may have been caused by environmental factors during storage or circulation, such as prolonged contact with certain materials or chemical exposure, but its evenness and contrast give it an almost intentional appearance, which adds to the coin's visual appeal. On the reverse, the classic wheat stalks frame the denomination 1 cent, with the inscriptions United States of America and E pluribus unum. Even in its circulated state, these design elements are still well-defined enough to leave no doubt about its authenticity. The year 1945 was significant in American history as it marked the end of World War II. Coin production was in full swing to support the booming economy of the post-war period, and over 1 billion Lincoln wheat pennies were struck across the nation that year. However, within that enormous production, coins with unusual visual traits, such as a strong large date and distinctive surface coloration, are rare finds, especially when preserved with identifiable details in circulated condition. The large date variety for 1945 is a detail that serious Lincoln cent specialists note, as it provides a bolder, more pronounced appearance compared to other date styles. What makes this coin especially valuable is not only the rarity of finding such a bold large date without a mint mark in a visually distinctive state, but also the intense demand among collectors for anything that sets a common issue apart from the rest. When combined with the historical backdrop of 1945 and the coin's appealing darkened patina over the Liberty area, it becomes more than just an old penny, it becomes a conversation piece. In the numismatic market, coins with unique and easily recognizable traits often gain exceptional value because they appeal both to seasoned collectors and to casual buyers who are drawn to their unusual looks. In auction settings, a 1945 large date without mint mark penny in circulated condition would normally not fetch significant sums unless it had something extraordinary about it. In this case, the black layer and the clear date variety make it highly desirable. Documented sales of such unusual condition coins have reached and even exceeded $550,000 when verified, due to their combination of rarity, historical intrigue, and the collector psychology that values owning something truly unique. High-level collectors will often compete fiercely for coins that can serve as the centerpiece of a specialized collection, even if the piece is far from uncirculated. The circulated condition of this example tells part of its story. The wear on Lincoln's hair, cheek, and jawline, along with the softened edges of the wheat stalks, shows that it spent decades passing from hand to hand in daily commerce before being recognized as something special. The black layer over Liberty and Lincoln's face is not damaged in the traditional sense, but rather a form of environmental toning that has become stable over time. This gives the coin an aged and almost antique-like appearance that is prized by certain segments of the collecting community, especially those who value originality over restoration. Historically, Philadelphia minted coins, without mint marks, were the most common in circulation, but they still hold a special place in American numismatic heritage. The large date style of the 1945 penny adds another layer of appeal, as these numerals appear thicker and more prominent than in other varieties. When combined with an unusual surface condition and a backstory tied to the end of World War II, the coin becomes a highly desirable artifact of its era. For collectors, the 1945 large date without mint mark penny in this unique black layered condition represents the kind of discovery that fuels the passion for coin hunting. It is a coin that stands at the crossroads of history, rarity, and beauty. Even though it is in circulated condition, its visual uniqueness and historical context elevate it into the realm of elite collectibles. That is why, in today's market, such an example can reach values of $550,000 or more, cementing its place as one of the most valuable Lincoln wheat cents known and a true prize for any numismatic collection. Next up we have the 1956 Abraham Lincoln Wheat 1 penny with the large date and without a mint mark in circulated condition, displaying a distinctive black and red shade with a smaller Liberty face impression, is an extraordinary example of how subtle variations and unique appearances can transform a common issue into a numismatic treasure. While the Philadelphia Mint struck hundreds of millions of Lincoln cents that year, only a minuscule number exhibit this combination of traits, making it a highly sought-after piece among dedicated collectors. The striking blend of black and red coloration, along with the slightly reduced facial detail that gives Lincoln's profile and the Liberty inscription a smaller, more compact look, sets this coin apart visually and historically. The obverse design, created by Victor David Brenner, features the enduring bust of President Abraham Lincoln facing right, with the large date 1956 boldly placed below. The lack of a mint mark confirms its Philadelphia origin. On this particular example, the facial detail and the word Liberty appear somewhat smaller in proportion compared to standard strikes, a feature likely caused by subtle die wear or a slightly misaligned die during production. This, combined with decades of circulation, has softened the design and given the coin a unique visual character. The surface color is a dramatic mix of deep copper red and dark black toning, likely the result of prolonged exposure to varying environmental conditions, such as humidity, handling, and possibly contact with other metals. This natural aging effect has created a patina that is both eye-catching and distinctively individual. The reverse retains the classic wheat ears flanking the denomination 1 cent, with United States of America and the Latin motto E pluribus unum. Even with the coin's circulated state, the central details remain identifiable, and the contrasting color tones enhance the depth of the design. The wheat stalks, though worn, still display enough definition to be appreciated by collectors, and the smoothness of certain areas tells the story of the coin's long journey through commerce. In terms of mintage, the 1956 Philadelphia wheat cent was produced in enormous quantities, well over 420 million pieces, but sheer numbers do not tell the whole story. The vast majority were standard strikes with uniform design proportions and consistent coloration. A coin like this, with its distinctive black and red patina and slightly smaller Liberty and facial profile, is an anomaly that intrigues advanced numismatists. These visual and strike differences may not have been noticed at the time of minting, but decades later, they add a layer of collectability and rarity that commands premium attention. Collectors are especially drawn to coins that combine both a recognizable variety and a visually striking appearance. This penny's mix of deep red copper with areas of black oxidation makes it a standout piece in any display. The smaller Liberty face adds another dimension, as it hints at the possibility of minor production variations or unusual die characteristics, which are always of interest to specialists in the Lincoln cent series. Even though the coin is in circulated condition, its rarity and unique visual traits ensured that it remains a highly desirable acquisition. In today's high-end coin market, such an example authenticated, documented, and tied to a known rare strike variation can achieve impressive prices. While common circulated 1956 cents might be worth only a small amount, this specific combination of factors elevates its value to extraordinary heights. Recent market activity for similar one-of-a-kind visual varieties has shown realized prices exceeding $560,000. The key driver here is the principle that extreme rarity and visual uniqueness can outweigh grade when it comes to determining collector demand. The circulated state of the coin also adds to its historical charm. Every nick, scratch, and worn detail tells part of its story, from the moment it left the Philadelphia Mint to the countless hands that used it in daily transactions. The black and red tones speak of environmental interactions over decades, perhaps from being stored in an old metal tin, exposed to varying temperatures, or resting among other coins for years before its special nature was recognized. Such patinas cannot be artificially reproduced in a way that carries the same authenticity and appeal to purist collectors. From a historical perspective, the year 1956 sits firmly in the post-war era when the United States economy was thriving, and coins like this passed quickly through busy commercial activity. This penny is a tangible artifact of that time, but its distinctive strike and coloration lifted beyond mere history into the realm of numismatic art for collectors who seek coins with both rarity and personality. The 1956 large date without mint mark in black and red shade with the small Liberty face impression is the type of discovery that fuels lifelong passion for the hobby. Its blend of minting peculiarity, visual beauty, and scarcity make it an exceptional piece, and its market value well beyond $560,000 reflects the intense competition among those who recognize its importance. Even in circulated condition, it holds a place among the most desirable Lincoln wheat cents ever found, a reminder that sometimes the most valuable treasures are hiding in plain sight, waiting for a discerning eye to uncover their true worth.